Welcome back to the class, everyone. A year and a half ago, CG introduced Lightspeed bundles to the game, and they completely surprised and shocked everyone because we had never seen a deal as good as those. Well, now, fast forwarding into the future, it seems like even CG thinks they might have just been a little bit too good. Now, if you don't know what I'm referring to, as of today, we have 4 new Lightspeed bundles coming to the game, and I use parentheses there because, or quotation marks, because they're really just an old Lightspeed bundle that has been repackaged at a higher price point with more relics added to it. So this Radis Lightspeed bundle that you see before us, this was already released a year and a half ago, just at Relic 5, and for, I believe, a total of $20. What I want to do in today's video is compare not only that pack with its previous one, but the other 3 as well, showing the overall value that has now changed between the 2. But before we get into an analysis of the value comparatively between the old version and the new version, I do want to lay some context because that's going to be important for me not being overly negative about this change. So before me, this very busy spreadsheet actually contains all 46 previous Lightspeed bundles that have existed to date. And what we're trying to do in each one of these lines is calculate the overall value if you were to take all the Chirotech that is involved in the pack and all the signal data that you get from the pack, and if you were to buy them from shipments, how much would it actually cost, and then what is the overall value you are getting. I realize that's a kind of crude way of doing the math because there are other things involved, but I'm trying to be as conservative as possible here to not overvalue the pack for you all. Now, the reason why I'm wanting to give you this context of this very busy spreadsheet is because when we look at the overall deal here to the far right, the number is not always 100% consistent. Sometimes it is 12 times better than buying those options in shipments. Sometimes it is 5. Sometimes it is 15. It varies. The biggest outliers for this were the original Ray and the original Supreme Leader Kylo Ren packs. The Supreme Leader Kylo Ren pack was 43 times better than if you were just to go into shipments and buy that amount of signal data as well as Chirotech. That's not including character shards, that's not including Gear 12, it's not including all the little things that get accumulated along the way. So in reality, it's a lot higher than that, but just from a comparative standpoint, it was by far the best pack. And to give even more context, what I did was I calculated, or rather I removed the times better from all those cells, and I wanted to find what is the current average for all Lightspeed bundles overall value, and it lands at about 14. So now that we have all this set up, that the previous Lightspeed bundles had outrageously good value, even among Lightspeed bundles, not just in game, that's going to help us come to some of the conclusions that we have on our next spreadsheet. Now, I'm going to do this a little bit differently. Typically, I would give you the numbers and then tell you what my observation/conclusion are. I want to just give you the observations right up front because I think you probably already know where we are going with this, and then we'll back it up with data right after. The first observation is that Lightspeed bundles are the best deal in the game. I don't care which one you are buying. If you are buying the IPD pack, that is the most economical way to get IPD if you were to spend cash. If you are going to buy Jabba, or you are going to get the requirements for Jabba, the Lightspeed bundle for Jabba is the most economical way to do that with money. There's no real way you can beat it. Obviously, you can get those things for free if you play long enough, but at the same time, if you're willing to spend, they're always the best way to get whatever character it is, whether that character is as bad as IPD or as useful as Jabba. The second observation is the new packs are worse than the old ones. That is almost universally true for these 4 that we are going to be looking at today. The one that is going to come a little bit close, where it's not actually that bad, is actually going to be the finalizer, and we'll go into that into detail, and that, I guess, is pretty good news. The third observation is that, at worst, these new iterations of the Lightspeed bundles, they're really just average. And I don't mean average as far as packs go, I mean average for a normal Lightspeed bundle. So it's not like you're getting completely cheated out of a lot of value just because you didn't get the cheaper version a year and a half ago because you either didn't have the money or you weren't playing. And then these next two are pretty big speculation on my part, but just me reading what they're trying to do here, and what I think they're really having is seller's remorse from those. I don't think the old variations of these packs are coming back. I could be dead wrong with that. I'm sure a lot of this will be reliant on how many of these actually sell, but what I think they're trying to do is I think they're trying to take their older packs and still offer them, but have their pricing more in line with what currently exists out there with, again, those other 44 packs that we looked at before. The other observation is this likely doesn't keep happening. And what I mean by that is I think there's a lot of fear out there that CG is just going to keep making the Lightspeed bundles progressively worse over time. They're going to keep jacking up the prices. They're going to keep inflating them, so to speak. And I don't think that will be the case, at least not with the vast majority of them. Again, it looks like somewhere around, I believe it was May of 2024, when General Skywalker, Padme, Night Sisters, Geos, when this whole batch released, it looks like they found a different sweet spot for the overall value of the packs. For example, the Supreme Leader Kylo Ren pack was literally giving you a Relic 5 character for less than $1 when you broke it down. That type of overall value was never seen again. So what I think they're trying to do is they're not just trying to constantly inflate and price gouge everyone. They're just trying to bring the previous Lightspeed bundles up to speed, so to speak, with the other ones. I realize that still feels bad because comparison is the thief of joy, and if you know your friend or your guildmate got pretty much the exact same value for 1/3 or half the price not too long ago, the human nature just makes that feel bad. And then the last observation was that Finalizer Bone was really close, which I guess we already kind of mentioned that. So now that we have all those in play, I want to actually get into the numbers to show you how we got there. So up above here, we have all 4 of the old packs accompanied by their predecessors. Now, part of what I'm trying to do here isn't just show you that, hey, the new Radis pack is 14 times better than if you were to buy those things in shipments. I'm trying to show you comparatively where it stands in regards to the previous pack, because while the price has changed, the relic levels also changed, so there's going to be some back and forth there. Now, when we compare the Radis pack, you will see here that the Chirotech and their overall value is the exact same. That's going to be true on all of these, because the only thing that changed were relic levels, and as of right now at least, Chirotech is not required for relics. Knock on wood for that one. But going down the line, you will see that there is a giant jump in the overall Signa data value, and that's really just because from Relic 5 to Relic 7, it's expensive. Not only is it going to continue to use the same signal data, but the amounts just keep going up, so it will over double. The problem with this is the pack also doubled. And when we go down to the end of the line here, you'll see that the old pack, and I kind of already stated this previously in the observation, is an overall better value. You would have been better off only spending $20 to get them all to Relic 5 than you would be spending $40 to take them all the way to Relic 7. The additional note that I have with this, and this unfortunately does matter, a lot of these characters you just don't need at Relic 7, which is pretty bad from a value perspective, because that means you're not really getting all of that back. Like, I look at T3, M4, and Karth, and man, I guess they're pilots, but at the same time, I'm in Kyber 1, 13 million GP, Ebon Hawk works fine with Karth at Gear 12. Like, it's fine. It's not something that you would normally spend resources on, so it's hard to attribute value to it. This is actually true with a lot of the characters in here. Young Lando, Resistance Pilot are other 2 good examples. There are some that kind of meet halfway, like Rey is actually, the Scavenger Rey is actually a requirement, so that's kind of nice. As well as characters like Bosk that are actually just useful at Relic 7. So it's not a complete wash, but at the same time, it's hard to genuinely attribute it 14 times better when the 18 times better really wasn't entirely, was a lot more accurate to the relic levels you were getting. Moving on to the Rey packs, we are going to see a similar trend here. One of the things that really hurt, I guess, the previous Rey/JTR packs is that while they were both $10, if you wanted all the characters you're getting now, you had to buy both of them together, meaning they only had about 20 times value of the normal pack. And while, as we've already stated, that was way above the average, it still wasn't as high as SLKR that we will get to here in a second. We will see that the current pack is still about 17 times better than shipments, which is good, but not as good as the Ray and JTR one. The other thing that is relevant and hard to calculate, because this will depend on your account, is it was really nice to split apart the Ray and JTR packs, because if you didn't need some of them, you didn't have to worry about that overlap of, hey, buying a pack for 20 bucks or buying a pack for 10 bucks when you already had 5 of the characters or something like that. Now, you're essentially, if you want to have any of them, you're forced to buy them both at the same time. And that lack of freedom, while again hard to calculate, is also not an overall net positive. And the Ray 2 pack is unfortunately going to fall into the same category as the Radis pack that we looked at earlier, in the sense that a lot of these characters aren't needed at Relic 6, and quite frankly, aren't even that useful at Relic 6. Like, I look at Vet Han and Vet Chewie, it's fine that they're requirements, but pumping them from Relic 5 to Relic 6, you're not winning more battles with that. And it's true about a lot of these. Like, again, there is some middle ground value there, but a lot of them, you just wouldn't normally spend this, especially if you're just trying to min-max value overall, which is one of the big things that Lightspeed Bundles is doing. But even when you take that out, even if you were to say that this pack was actually only giving you those 11 characters at Relic 5, it's still 11 times better than shipments, which again, falls around in line with a normal Lightspeed bundle that has an average value of 14 times better. So still not a bad pack, just worse than the previous one, which is kind of the theme for most of these. The exception probably coming up next with Finalizer. The original Finalizer pack was $20, so it was already a little bit more expensive to begin with, and the new one is $40. And different from the other ones, the overall usefulness of having these characters at Relic 7 goes way up. Boba Fett, Crew, Xylo, Vader, all these characters are required at Relic 7 or higher for either this or something else. So you were going to have to do that anyways, and while it might not give you that value up front, it is nice to just have it out of the way. And then the overlap of other characters that just genuinely want to have higher relics is also there. Cad Bane and Bosk, with the current Executor P1 situation, really aren't going anywhere. And I'm like, I would love to have an R7 Cad Bane. I don't right now, but also my Executor doesn't hold as much as I would like to. So not as much lost value here with the overall relic levels. And in general, the overall value variance is not that much different. In fact, it's probably the lowest we see on this entire list. And I guess we kind of saved the worst for last. And this is one that's probably the most sad. And again, this is really just a fall from grace, because the SLKR pack, the original one at Relic 5 for all those 11 characters, it was so cheap. It was not just the best pack, it was the best Lightspeed bundle pack. It was like the king of the kings, just the best one overall. And they really did make it in line with a normal Lightspeed bundle, only giving it 15 times better value. And again, it does a little bit better, similar to the Finalizer one, but it also just doesn't get you exactly where you need to be. Like, we have both Kylos in here at Relic 6. Ideally, you would want the Relic 7. I guess if you're buying the other pack, that's kind of a wash, but at the same time, maybe that's not even good from an overall value perspective. So that is going to essentially be the video. At the end of the day, I think CG had a little bit of seller's remorse with those original packs. They realized that they wanted Lightspeed bundles to be a mainstay in the in-game economy, and they didn't want to completely remove the Resistance and First Order ones out from under people, but at the same time, they wanted to put them in line with the other metrics. And while I realize that feels bad, from a value perspective, they're still pretty good. So I guess this will be my recommendation, is if you are okay looking at the numbers, knowing that, yeah, that pack is easily worth $35 if you are willing to spend things on the game in general. As long as you don't feel bad about it, I would say go ahead and get it. If you still can't stomach it and there's just something that doesn't sit well with you, knowing that you basically could have gotten this for $10 a year ago or whenever it last came out, then yeah, don't buy it. Don't do something that you do not feel right about with your own money. But at the end of the day, those are the numbers. That's where we leave it. Thank you guys for watching, and stay awesome.